All right, I want to welcome everyone to another edition of Sensual Synergy. We are here to talk about what? Trust issues. Yes, all right. I like to call and response. Come on. So yeah, we're here to talk about trust. So you see, people are already passionate about it. They like, yeah, trust issues. So we're here tonight to talk about trust issues. So before we get into that, I want to thank a few special people. I want to thank the Women's Earth and Janae for allowing us to be in her beautiful space tonight. And I want to thank Private Sessions and Patrick Delaney that helped to sponsor the show also. And everyone, I have Jahari here in the background helping a sister out. And we have our brother D-Lo that's doing all the live recording and all the beautiful faces that are here tonight. So I want to thank everyone that is here tonight. Let's give ourselves a round of applause for being here. Let's get it hyped. Let's get it crunk. All right. All right. So before I go any further, I want to introduce my special guest. This is my special guest. This is Sakai Odinga, and she is a very close friend of mine. We've been knowing each other over a decade now. Our children grew up together, and this is my sister Kat. I get on the phone and we talk and we run our mouths about issues and relationships and politics and the world and things of that nature. And I was like, who can I have on my next show? And I was like, let me have my girl Sakai on, because we always on the phone running our mouths. I think we got something to say, something to share. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I said? Let me have Sakai on. So I want you to definitely give my girl Sakai Odinga a round of applause, please. Yeah. So, Sakai, thank you for coming out. And let's go ahead and let's dive into this. So this is where I wanted to start with the trust issues. First and foremost, we talk about trust, but I'm always about, let's get down to the nitty gritty. What is the definition of trust? What does it mean to trust? Trust means to rely on another person's actions, or to be assured that you can rely on the character, ability, strength, or truth of someone else. Yeah, exactly. So let's keep that in mind. Trust deals with relying on someone else. Okay, we're going to start that. That's our foundation. I always like to work with the foundation. So Sakai, rely and trust in the character, ability, strength, and truth of another human being.
Well, we're talking about relating, so us women, we are the best at creating false ideas of what we think or expect other people to do.
What do you mean by false ideas? Because my see, if you with me and I say that you need to do this and you need to do that and you say you're gonna do it, you need to do it.
See, the problem is we already start off with, let me tell you what you are allowed to do and say and feel.
Exactly.
So then we're already starting from a backward level of trust in the beginning, because we've already set the parameters for what someone is allowed to be and who they are allowed to tell us they are.
So what's wrong with that? Because if you want to be with me, you need to, I got a list. So you can come and go, you ain't got to be here. So you're saying that it's backwards when you come to someone, you say, this is my list of what I expect from you, and this is what I expect you not to do, that is somehow not the way to go?
You can have your list, but ultimately people don't belong to us. They're not our property.
Huh? Why are some people saying right? See, I'm not about to fool with y'all tonight. Because we got trust issues. So if we have trust issues and people don't belong to us, they don't go together. Do you mean? I'm just saying, trust issues, people don't belong to you. So that it doesn't go together. So what do you mean by right? So some people are agreeing with you that right. Logically, people don't belong to us. What do you expound upon that people don't belong to us?
They don't belong to us. So how they behave is going to change in a week, a month, 10 years, 15 years. So how do we change ourselves in order to be with that person, and how are we honest with ourselves in our own unrealistic expectations of that person?
So if I sit down with someone and I say I have expectations, okay, I expect you to do A, B, C, and D, and they say I expect you to do A, B, C, and D, and something changes down the line. That's a breach of trust. I mean, anyone would say that.
Yes.
So, I mean, how else are you supposed to deal with that?
I could trust, my husband to take out the trash, and, he doesn't do that. Then what?
I got trust issues.
Then he's a horrible person. You never take out the trash the way, and then we do this in so many different ways and so many different levels in relationships until people become nothing of what we expect them to be. But maybe they were never that in the first place. Maybe that was just what we wanted them to be. You know what I mean?
I mean, okay. No, we're here. We talking and we discussing. So are you saying it's unrealistic to rely on another person to do what you expect them to do?
Yes.
I hear yes. Okay, yeah, I got some amens in here. Amen. I heard one amen. That's it. All the other people are like, I'm not convinced. I got my list. You don't go by it, you look here. You out of here.
I just got A.
I got an A. I got an amen. We doing good. We doing good.
I got a headache.
All right. And we got a headache. And we got a headache on the front. Okay. So my thing to you, okay, if it's unrealistic to rely on another person to do what we expect them to do, then what is the solution? Like, what is the solution in relating? Like, how do we set up boundaries? How do we ensure that someone doesn't hurt us or do anything to us if we don't have expectations? That's the question. What do you say? Go ahead.
What I say is stop expecting people to do what you want them to do and let them be who they are. And then you set the rules for if that is enough for you. But we do it the opposite way. We do it the opposite way.
Yeah.
We say, these are the rules, and then so a person pretends to do what we think they want us to do until they stop wanting to pretend anymore, and then they do what we don't want them to do, and then we go through that whole cycle all over again. All over again. And it's normal, it's rational, maybe, in growing up with Cinderella, Snow White, Rapunzel, and I can only speak for women, so.
Yeah.
But it's natural to have these expectations, but in my mind, our overriding expectation as women is childbearing, Mm-hmm. And when we look at it from a childbearing perspective, mates for our children, even though someone might be a perfect mate, he might not be a perfect person. And do we keep replacing our mates because they're not a perfect person? We could do that a whole bunch.
Woo! I hear some signs. Some people are sipping on their drink. I'm going to sip to that one. So speaking of perfect, is it unrealistic to try to want someone that has everything on your list and to be perfect? I mean, people say it's unrealistic, but who doesn't want to be with the perfect person?
No, that's too much.
So, then where does trust issues come from if we look at a person as being this whole encompassing everything that we want them to accomplish, but when they don't or they fall short of our expectations, then they are not who we want them to be and they've hurt our feelings. I was listening to someone today that was talking about relationships and relationship preferences, and they said no matter your relationship preference, the idea is that once we realize that we look at relationships as a means to an end for happiness. We're taught at a very young age through Rapunzel and Cinderella that happily ever after. You got your Prince Charming, or you got your perfect woman, and they should behave in a certain way that lines up with the way you want them to behave. And when they don't, we find ourselves going from one mate to the next mate to the next mate. Basically serial monogamous we are. We are serial monogamous. And they said that when we allow our mates to be who they are and not depend on other people for our happiness. Now that sounds all poetic and stuff, and like it should be some violins in the back playing and all that type of stuff. But if you really think about it, when we are relating to other people and we have these expectations for them, we are relying on them for our happiness. What do you think about that?
Yeah,
I thought that was an interesting statement.
It's so true, because our trust issues really, I always say that, if I don't trust you, it doesn't necessarily have to be about what you have actually done. because, you know, my favorite, abandonment. We're all abandoned. We're all abandoned. And your level of trust and your level of trust issues directly relates to your level of abandonment. Because there are some people you can do just about anything to them. They pay you no attention at all. They're not fazed. They're not jealous. They don't, they're not the kind of people that are clingy. They don't seem to need that. And then there's some people, if you slam the door too hard, they think that you're mad. What's wrong with you? What did I do? So depending on how your experiences in this world and what you've come from, that family of origin, that abandonment, directly relates to how you trust or don't trust. And many people, even as people coming into relationships, I always look at people like, what is their family of origin? What happened with them?
Yeah.
Why are they behaving the way they're behaving? Is it really about me, or is it really about what mama and dad didn't do?
Exactly.
Or grandpa didn't do. And you find 9 times out of 10 that, that it's actually what they did to them. And we're still trying to work that out.
Okay, so you're essentially talking about a root cause, that the trust issue doesn't come from someone starting to relate as an adult or a young adult, that essentially it comes from experiences from in the past where they felt like they could not rely on other people, maybe a parent, maybe a caregiver, or maybe people around them. And something else, it ties me to something else that I heard about, as it relates to what we as human beings, and what I say here, sensual synergy, all the time, is that I believe, and I want all my the people who listen to my show to eventually understand that we create our lives on a daily basis with our thoughts and our actions. And one thing that also that I saw today when I was, researching the concept of trust, is that in relationships, we are bringing in our baggage. Remember Erykah Badu sung that song, Bag Lady. And it was like, oh, it's cute, sing a song, I have issues and things of that nature. But a lot of times we don't realize that the thoughts and the expectations that we bring into our relationships are what manifest the reality that we see. A lot of times we can profess that we want something. I want this type of relationship. But we are actually putting all our energy, our thought, and our time into the opposite of what we actually want or we prefer. So I'll give you an example. I want a loving partner in a monogamous relationship, that we are together forever, amen. And we gonna ride off into the sunset. But I sit up with my homegirls all the time and talk about how niggas ain't shit. Or I sit up all the time and say, oh my God, let me check his phone, see if he fucking around with his ex-girlfriend. I'm going to be very frank with you. So my thing is that instead of you focusing your energy on what you prefer, you're actually focusing your energy on what you do not want. So the universe and God is saying, oh, your wish will be granted. I will give you, if you don't trust and you feel like you need to check up on this person, I'm going to find you somebody you're going to have to check up on.
Simply because you spoke.
Simply because you spoke it. Okay, all right, brother, you want to come on in on this?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
I feel that trust issues really, originate really from dysfunctionalism. And to me, it's what was the word you were saying earlier? It's expectations. It's to have it's unrealistic to put unrealistic expectations on somebody. I mean, like I talk to a lot of ladies that are like, why did he do this to me? Why did he do this to me? I did this. I don't do nothing to deserve this. Well, you can't judge a man on how much he makes, how tall he is, how muscular, and this. It's the character and candor you need to look at. Also, does this man, look at how he treats his mother, look at how he treats his daughter if he has one. Look at how he treats people, period.
Gotcha.
And then also you got to find out, what does he really like? Does he like anything I like?
Gotcha.
I have a friend right now, I like, I'm 41, but I still, me being an artist, I still like Japanese anime.
Uh-huh.
And I looked up and found a lady that loves it. and we sit there and watch old Dragon Ball Z cartoons. And she's like, "Did you see that? Oh my God!" Did you? I'm like, "Yeah, you know." And I'm like, "I love this woman." But that's chemistry. When you have chemistry,
essentially.
When you have chemistry, it's lovely. And not everybody's perfect. I truly believe that you can find that perfect one for you. There's no such thing as a perfect person, but there is a perfect one for you.
Exactly.
But also, I had another lady told me, you know, she's country as a mason jar. She said, "Hey, everybody's fucked up. It's just which one you gonna be with who ain't gonna fuck you, who ain't gonna piss you off the most." I said, "Well, yeah, you kind of."
I like that. I like that. You said she is country as a mason jar. Okay, you heard that first on Sensual Synergy. She is country as a mason jar.
So, when I say, you know, trust issues originate from dysfunctionalism, one person could be just wonderful, that guy could be wonderful, that woman could be wonderful, and nothing wrong. And then somewhere down the line, outside forces or something will be in that person's ear, and then that person's like, maybe you're right. And then, you know, that's when you start checking, you know, where were you last night? Where are you this? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Da, da, da. And my father told me something all my life. Never assume. Because when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me.
Gotcha.
Assume.
Gotcha. So yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense, and something that I would like to pull out of everything that you just said. You talked about dysfunction. I kind of hate those words because it kind of, you know, turns human beings like they're diseased or something's wrong with them. You know, the reality is that we all chose our experiences and we're here and we're living it. But something that came out of what you said, brother, is when you talked about dysfunction, again, it goes back to our expectations, what we are used to, and what we put our energy into. Okay, so my thing is that here at Sensual Synergy, I want us to understand that yes, right now I'm looking at in all of your faces right now, but it's really just me. I can sit right now, my husband can be in front of me, but he is just a reflection of me. He is a reflection of me. And if you believe that and you understand that, then you know that if you find yourself in a situation where that person is not what you want them to be, then you understand that it's something in you drawing that to you. Because let's think about it. How many, would y'all say millions, billions of people in the world, trillions? I don't know. What's the numbers? Billions? I don't know. I'm not a mathematician. Don't get me. I'm dumb blonde when it comes to that. No offense to blondes, but anyway. Billions of people in the world. Think about it. Let's be logical. Out of billions of people in the world, how is that we will continue to manifest the same relationships over and over again? And something I said in my last show. Who is the common denominator? I remember fractions. Remember fractions? They were drilling the common denominator, the common denominator, the common denominator. So the question is always, who is the common denominator in all these scenarios with relationships? It's at some point you have to take the power back. And when I say take the power back, what we tend to do in relationships is we say, they did this, they did that, it's their fault, woo, 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 and we're looking and we're pointing outside of ourselves. But once again, going back to mathematics, what's the common denominator? So when you realize that you are the common denominator, then it's time to look within and not to blame yourself or shame yourself, but to say, what am I doing to continue to attract this type of energy to me? Because we live in an energetic universe. You have something to add?
I was going to say that sometimes we just get happy with being the victim. I am the victim. I am the victim of you people. You are making me like this because you just keep on you, like you said, right? Until we finally say, you know what, this doesn't happen anymore because I don't allow it. I don't allow it. What I don't like, I don't allow, and so then there's not any trust issue because I go, you know, I don't like it when you do that. I think I won't talk to you anymore. You know, I mean, if it's really an issue, it's either an issue or it's not. You know, it's either we've made a decision that, you know what, sometimes he comes home, sometimes he doesn't. Or, you know, we made a decision that, you know, I like it when he comes home, so I'm not going to be with this person anymore because they don't usually come home.
So you're saying essentially it's choice. It's choice.
We don't want to take responsibility for the choices that we've made and the decisions that we've made. Instead, we blame other people for not living up to our expectations. And you know, we choose.
Yeah, we choose every step of the way. So on that note, knowing that we are choosers and we are creating our lives and our realities on a daily basis, we're going to go ahead and go to a quick break. But before we go into a quick break, I have an announcement for the greater Houston area. Queen Afua will be in Houston February the 8th through February the 9th at the Shrine of the Black Madonna. All right, let me make sure I hold this up. Do Queen Afua some justice. All right, she'll be at 5390 MLK Boulevard at the Shrine Cultural Center. So if you want more information, you can go to www.sacredwellness.eventbrite.com. That's www.sacredwellness.eventbrite.com. Or if you would like information sent to your phone directly, you can text 281-995-6155. Again, you can text to 281-995-6155 for more information. Queen Afua will be here in the Houston area. Definitely want you to check it out. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with you in about 5. Thanks. All right, so y'all can, the men are here and we value your opinion. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, but like I said, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna leave my brothers out. So we're back. We had a quick little break and we're back here at Sensual Synergy. So what I wanted to do is that before we went on to break, we had this handsome gentleman here on my right hand side that wanted to contribute some words of wisdom, comment, or whatnot. So I'll give you the floor, brother.
Just kind of touching on what was already brought forth. Kind of touching on the understanding of when you're with somebody, no matter what age or whenever you guys kind of connect and decide to form a relationship, even if you've known this person a long time, y'all went back high school, elementary, whatever. But when y'all come to form a relationship with each other, the understanding of knowing that you don't stop growing until you die. And when you're with this person, when you decide to become in a committed relationship, you know, things change, certain rules come into play, the rules that the sisters bring forth, put them on the table, you know, that person decides to accept those rules or whatever, that's what it is. But the understanding of knowing that person is not finished growing, you have not finished growing, and if you want to be along for that growth, kind of came across something that kind of, you know, made sense to me. Everybody has baggage, but can you find that person that can help you unpack? Gotcha. Can you find that person that wants to help you unpack, who want to stick around to help you unpack?
Gotcha.
And I think we can be selfish when we saying, you know, you can't do that to me, this person shouldn't do this to me, you know, I deserve better. Everybody, of course, you know, you have a certain amount of respect for yourself because you don't want anybody to just treat you any kind of way.
Gotcha.
But certain conformities when you come into a relationship, when you're dealing with another complex being, a human being, it's not like these movies that you watch. And I think a lot of time people might come into, you know, thinking that these movies and things that people write is what really is supposed to be reality. Somebody wrote that. That's what they want to be real. Expectations.
I got a question for you, brother. Keep rolling.
So if you come into those expectations, just kind of just realize that, you know, it might not be what you really gonna get.
Exactly. Now, you talked about understanding that growth is inevitable in a relationship. We know that. Even when they bury you, your nails and hair and toenails still growing. You still growing, okay? Essentially, energetically, you're still growing all the way up to death. So my question to you is that if you had to pinpoint a solution to deal with that, because of course, we're creatures of habit. If we met somebody and they cooked and cleaned, you know, I met a female, I'm a dude, and She cooked for me 5 days out of the week. And then all of a sudden, you know, she got out of school, her career got kicking, and she only was cooking 3 days out of the week. And we was having sex every day. Now we're only having sex 2 days out of the week. She's growing, she's changing, things are different. How do you deal with those type of changes? What would you say?
I think dealing with any kind of change, you have to just see if you honestly want to deal with it in the first place. Do I want to deal with this? And, you know, if you want to be honest with somebody, you'd be like, you know, I don't think I can deal with this. But some people just like, you know, they kind of play a role. Maybe they want something from this person, not telling them what they want from this person, but, you know, they going to stick around and just kind of see if they going to get it. If they don't get it, they going to deal. But that's really not a good idea to just, you know, just play somebody, you know, just act, pretend. That's not safe.
But the pretend piece, and it was interesting when you talking about the pretend piece, and Sakai's talking about the pretend piece. What you have to realize, let's think about the way we were raised. Let's think about how when we were young and we disappointed our parent, our caregiver, or someone in our family. And what do they usually say? Oh my God, you hurt my feelings. I really expected you to do ... A, B, and C. And you see this person that you really care and you love, and you see that you've hurt them deeply for whatever reason. And you think to myself, oh, I have to conform. I have to do something different because I don't want to hurt this person that I love. We learn how to conform. We learn how to shape shift, and we learn how to essentially be inauthentic at a very young age. Till eventually we get to a point in our lives where we don't really know who we are. So that's when you have females that their only criteria for a mate is superficial things. That's when you have a grown man that his only criteria for a female is superficial things. And think about it, you're only going to want something superficial if you really don't understand yourself authentically. Because you really don't know what you want. Because you've been conforming, you know. My mom or dad would get upset with me if I didn't make straight A's, but I really wasn't feeling doing that. I would have rather played sports and maybe made a high B or high C. But of course you didn't want to hurt that person because you loved them. So we learn at a very young age how to conform and how to shape shift in order to please the people around us. So that's what you have in relationships today. People are shape-shifting and they are conforming in order to get a said result. And the result is I want to make this person that I'm with happy. So I will stick in this relationship even though authentically I don't want to be here. Or it's something about this relationship that's just not right for me. So my question to you, what's the solution then? You know, communication. People always talk about communication. They throw it around all the time. Brother, do you think communication is good for relationships as it relates to change?
It is absolutely essential.
All right.
I wish he was there a couple days ago. Good gracious.
Communication. And when I say communication, don't feed me that, oh, you know, we communicate and sit down. I mean authentic, truthful communication about your feelings and your desires. Do you think people do that in relationships most of the time?
Well, I can speak from my own experience.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've come into situations where I hear people say that, but then I can sit out and point out situations where they're not communicating right. And sometimes it's only based on convenience.
Convenience.
Yeah, they communicate when it benefits them.
Oh,
You know,
go ahead.
like I don't want to get into that. What I want to do is, I mean,
You
that's
never
a whole long story. What I want to do is ask a question. I have a question about what was said earlier.
Okay. We're gonna let you roll with it.
I don't want to get off track too much. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
And the question was about expectations,
Gotcha.
and it was said that we shouldn't have certain expectations.
You shouldn't. Okay.
So my question is, if not, then when you're in a relationship, what do you strive for then? And it was also said that you can't be perfect.
Gotcha.
Nobody's perfect. So you're not perfect, and you shouldn't have expectations. So what's the whole point?
Of relating.
I thought that was the whole point. I mean, from my own understanding.
From your understanding, relating is expectations and trying to get someone that essentially lines up to your vision.
You expect something from each other, right?
Yeah.
You expect from your mate a certain list of things, if you want to say a list, and vice versa. So if that's wrong, or if we shouldn't be doing that, then what should we be doing? What's the point of having relations?
Okay, I'm gonna say this very briefly, and we're gonna pass it on to this sister right here, because she reaching for the stars. So as the microphone is going over there to her, I personally would not say that it is unreasonable. It's not reasonable to have expectations in relationships, but I would say it's not reasonable to have expectations in relationships if you don't believe in those expectations. So if you don't believe that a person is trustworthy, then don't expect people to be trustworthy. If you think that all niggas ain't shit, how you gonna expect to get a someone that is shit? I don't know what's the opposite of that, politically correct, but anyway. But do you see what I'm saying? It's nothing wrong with having expectations, but what you profess, does it line up with what you deeply believe? And usually it doesn't. If you find yourself manifesting something differently than what you profess, then you don't believe that is a reality. We are, your words speak power. Your energy you project. The universe, God, brings forth that. So you can talk all day, I want me a good man who do da. But like I said, you sit with your homegirls that the boy talking about, girl, you can't trust these and get your money, girl. You know what I'm saying? Make sure he pay your bills, because you know you can't girl, as long as it's good, girl, I wouldn't even worry about. If you're focusing on that, if you are a man and you're focusing on something opposite of what you profess, then your expectations are unrealistic.
But it sounds like that person's professing both.
They are professing both, but what are you putting more energy to? You're putting more energy into what you're manifesting. Do you see what I'm saying? I can say all day I want this type of relationship, but if I energetically am thinking and vibrating something differently than that, I am getting what I'm thinking, I'm believing deeply, and I'm vibrating. That's just the reality of it. And that's when I say expectations are unrealistic. And then it becomes unrealistic when you create this reality with your thoughts and your vibration. Then you manifest that into your life, and it does exactly what you expected to do. And then you say, oh, you hurt me, I got trust issues. But I really don't trust nobody in the beginning, so it really don't matter. Huh? That might make sense. Let me stop.
No, you're right. No.
You're right.
True. But that's what I'm saying. So it's nothing wrong with having your expectations. Just make sure that you're focusing your energy on what you expect and not what you don't expect. Because my thing is that the proof is always in the pudding. All right. And we're not victims. And that's another thing we're here. We're not victims. We're not
No one
victims.
can lie to us without our permission.
All right. Got some?
What I wanted to say and astound on a little bit of what she said, but what I think I'm hearing him say. I think one of the things that we're missing here when we talk about trust or distrust is the way that we were brought up, those traditionalisms. You know, I was always brought up that you form a relationship on trust, truth, loyalty, all those things, and honesty, and you're foundating it on that. So then when you finally get up old enough to date, you're looking for someone that you can trust. We'll have this talk, I sit down and I tell you, you know, what I'm expecting, you tell me what you're expecting, and then we go by that list. But those are part of traditionalisms that for some should be kicked out if you can't deal with that, or for others, if it worked for you, it worked for you. But and also, too, to be progressive enough to give a man and a woman his own page. Don't worry about what the next man did. That don't have anything to do with him. You know, wait until you're healed from the last pain before you start a new one. You know, and maybe those things you won't have to worry about. There's no reason he or she should be paying for the past whatsoever. And even the past as a family issue and abandonment and those issues. Don't go find a man if you know you got some hurt. Don't go look for a woman if you know you got some hurt. Get you some counseling, wait your time. You know what I mean? And that'll stop a lot of divorce, a lot of unwanted kids and everything else, you know? If you know that you can't be faithful and that's a trust topic for you, how about you be single? You know, why do you have to have one to send through the mud with you? But I think, you know, something that he was saying, well, what is it all for then? What do you do it for? I was raised that you start a relationship on trust and loyalty and honesty, you know, and, you know, all of those things. So it was good to hear her say we do it backwards, because I had never heard it that way.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Anyone else has somewhere they want to contribute? Go ahead.
And also to kind of give a thought to what he was saying as to what's the point, and also what you were you brought up about us not being victims. I think the bigger issue is for us to develop trust in ourselves. So that way, regardless of what someone does, I trust myself to know, okay, he might grow, he might change, he might do something different, but I trust myself to know that I can make a decision to say, you know what, that's not working for me anymore. And I trust myself to know that I'll move on instead of kind of just getting stuck in that holding pattern. Well, I did, you know, I love you and you're changing, but I just got to trust myself to know that I'm going to do what's working for me, what feels good for me. And I mean, and that takes some responsibility. You might have to break the relationship. You might have to end your lifestyle or whatever, but ultimately
we might have to change how we look at a relationship.
Well, and that
to
too,
keep the person that we want.
because even how we spoke about people having expectations, everyone doesn't have the same expectation about relationship. Some people, it's fine. Whoever, their man, their woman, maybe she can date other people, or she ain't got to call every day. So even with that type of thing, we don't all have the same expectation, but we kind of assume that, well, this is just the way it's supposed to be. You know, we're supposed to be minded, and you're not supposed to like nobody, and you're not supposed to be attracted to anyone else. But that's not what's really happening
At all.
So, it's just having that awareness, and trusting myself.
Exactly. That's a good point.
So going back to what Dion was saying again about, you know, what's the point? I think kind of goes back to what you were saying also in terms of how we attract whatever it is we're experiencing in relationships, life, period. Everything is connected. There's no separation, period. So when in our relationships, then our relationships become mirrors.
Yes.
So that person is a reflection. Nothing more than a reflection for us to have the opportunity to check ourselves, because going back to what Sister was saying initially, we have no control over anyone but ourselves. And so people cannot make us unhappy, happy. It all begins with self. So relationships then are tools, are vehicles to take us to where it is we're really going in this life based on what it is we chose here to come here to do in the first place. So the point of a relationship is to grow, really.
Did you hear that? Did y'all, hold up, you just hold the mic. Did you hear what she just said? Did you hear what she just said? Relationships are for us to grow. They are for us to grow. If you look at your partner as your reflection, a barometer as to where you are at in your life at that particular time, it's a beautiful way for you to really understand, how can I heal and grow and take myself to the next level? Am I loving the reflection that I'm seeing? If not, it makes me uncomfortable. Then what can I do as the creator of my reality to change what I'm seeing outside of myself? What can I do? Do I need to change the way I think? Do I need to change the way I behave? So it sounds all cliche, it sounds all, you know, she poo poo new age or whatever like that. But that's the reality. If you really dig deep in relationship patterns in your life, you will find a time where you were in relationships and you look back and say, I don't know how the hell I even was in one, let alone 2, 3 of them type of relationships. For me, physical abuse. I could imagine being in a physically abusive or emotionally or mentally abusive relationship right now in my life. And it is because I, unbeknownst to myself, took those opportunities in those relationships to see my reflection and grow from that. And like she's saying, going back, not looking at myself as a victim. Because if you look at yourself as a victim, then you're going to continuously be a victim. You're going to continuously create that cycle over and over again. So what do you think about that? What do you think about someone being in a relationship and having trust issues based off of maybe a pattern of abuse? Do you think it's too far-fetched to say that that person created that reality?
I was just about to touch on that before you started saying that. What do you tell the woman that grows up seeing her father beat the hell out of her mother, then she ends up getting an abusive man, and then she ends up meeting a good man, and that man doesn't beat her, and she says, "You don't even love me, you don't hit me."
Expectations.
or the guy that grows up seeing that same thing, then ends up dating women and beating them, and because he thinks that's what a relationship is. My daddy beat my mama, so that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I'm gonna exert my power in that manner. Yeah. Definitely. Again, it goes back to expectations. We really don't understand how we take our experiences. Can you pass it back, please? We really don't understand how we take our experiences from the past and we actually create the reality that we have today. Okay? So, like I said, I'm not here to say, oh, if you're in an abusive relationship, it's your fault. I'm just saying that you are expecting that experience. Because like you said, this woman, abusive relationship, then get with someone that ain't punching upside the head and saying, oh my God, you don't love me, I don't feel like you care. She expects that. And that's where
she relates pain with love.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It is what it is. Yes, so stop.
Ditto all around the room. I mean, I blame all of the fairy tales in Disney. You know, you have this toad, and if you simply kiss them, they will turn into your prince, you know, and that really plays out with a lot of women. I mean, you have a man and you just kiss them, fill in the blank, you nurture them, you tell them what they need to do, you help them, you get them a job, whatever them, you know, whatever is manifested into that dear kiss, they're going to turn into what you want them to be. And that, unfortunately, is bullshit. And you know, I just feel that, you know, in terms of what the sister said towards the beginning of the show, that we don't own individuals. And that was my personal evolution. Not that I necessarily felt like I owned people, but I did have this level of expectation that whatever I do for you, you must do for me. You know what I mean? And you should be happy doing it, you know? But that's just simply not true. And it's fear of losing something. And I think a profound thing that Nikki said was that the level of abandonment directly correlates to a person's level of trust. And that's not a bad thing. We all come with stories and experiences.
Definitely.
But how free it is to get to the point where you really want to be with somebody to help them be their best selves, and then at the same time you get it in too. And know that they're gonna fuck up. It's gonna happen. It's inevitable. People are not perfect because they're not meant to be. But you're not perfect either. And for me, I was perfect. You know, so.
The moment you see that person isn't trying to even help themselves, that's when you need to be like,
Come on.
okay, I need to get the hell up out of here. Because I know some good ladies. I know some good for nothing women. I know some good guys. I know some good for nothing guys. I tell these guys, dude, how you living off this woman? Shit, I ain't got to work. I play PlayStation all day long. She come out, man, shit. I was hollering at her sister the other day.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. And then we're gonna go back to Dion right here. Let me ask you a question. A lot of times in those situations, okay, we're gonna pick on the PlayStation, you know, bomb soap opera dude. I say this all the time. We are energetic beings. You're vibrating on one of the lines of polarity. Positive, negative, not meaning negative, positive, bad, good, evil, but negative or positive, masculine or feminine. And as in when we're dealing with relationships, we're dealing with polarities. So when you find a situation, and this is just a tidbit, and this is kind of off the topic of trust, but since you brought it up, I want to put it in there. When you find yourself in a relationship as a woman with a guy who is manifesting quote unquote feminine tendencies, what you think the woman manifesting?
Masculine.
Because 10 times out of 9, what's she doing? She going out there, she beating the pavement. She getting it done. And what he doing? He at the house might as well have some Q-tips, some cotton balls between his toes, playing them clear. While watching, popping bonbons, watching. Because what you have is you have a role reversal, essentially. Because we're attracted.
Keep them in your house. Why?
Because she is operating as masculine. No one is a victim. No one is a victim.
That is.
No one is a victim.
Women, that's a sense
They
of
like
security.
it.
It's a sense of security.
Women,
He
they
ain't gonna
like
go
it.
nowhere. Is she paying?
And that's another.
Let me address what Sakai
Listen to them,
said.
they just cry.
She said some women like it. I know a woman right now.
Yes.
I've been talking to this lady for a year trying to get her to stop letting this dude just run all over and let her. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Just trying to get her to get some self-esteem about her, some confidence. And I told her, I said, the only way you're gonna get a good man is if I say, no real, honest to God, good man wants a weak, whatever you like type woman, you know. And she just lets this guy run all over and lets her family run all over and all. And I'm like, you know, like just last week she had a breakthrough, and she pretty much turned into like, fuck it, everything. It's like, no, I'm taking my life back, and da 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 da. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, you can tell me all day, but it's up to you to
With
do
the
that for
action.
yourself.
With the action,
You know?
yeah, most definitely.
But
And
it's
like I
the
said,
point, you know.
yeah. But my thing is that going back to what you're saying with your friend, I think Dion has something to say. Can you pass the mic back to him? But going back to what you were saying, it's all a choice. It's all a choice we're creating every day. You understand that you can't continue to enable your friend to feel like a victim. She is a powerful person, and the reason why that she stayed in the position that she was in because she felt like she was a victim. Because she had people to say, "Oh, po you, he treat you bad, you a victim." The whole time, like you said, like this sister said right here, she might get some security out of knowing if I allow him to do certain things, at least I know I can control him and he'll be here. You never know what's going on underneath the surface.
But I think she turned herself that way because she didn't get people
Yeah.
telling her old post.
No, but I'm just saying, essentially, you know, it's always an underneath story. So let's get to Dion back here. What you got to say to us, brother?
Yeah, what I'm thinking is just reflecting on my past relationships, and I think it's unfortunate that, I mean, from what Sakai said earlier, we do things backwards. I wish we had a boot camp or some kind of rites of pass for relationships before we go into relationships. What we end up doing is learning with blinders on, bumping our heads, and then later on in life we start having
Epiphanies.
conversations like these.
Yes.
Which I could have used how many years ago, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, when you speak about reflection, and a relationship is a reflection of yourself.
Thank you.
And then you're supposed to check yourself. What happens when you say, okay, I'm checking myself? I don't see nothing wrong.
Who don't look at themselves and say they don't see nothing wrong?
Personally, I check myself. I check myself a lot, right?
Yeah.
But not every time I check myself, I come up with, oh man, you were wrong.
Well, like I said, that's the beauty of relationships. Going back to what this sister said here, they are your mirrors. So a lot of times, if you want to see where you are, look at your partner.
So what I'm wishing is,
Look at your partner.
I wish the females that I've dated in the past, some of them, were coming in with the mentality of, I'm your mirror, and I'm here to check you.
No, it's not like check. No. See, look here.
I said it wrong.
Or did you choose what you got?
Did I win?
It always comes back. Remember the mirror. Do we get what we choose?
Okay, so the reason I chose her is
There you go.
Your choice.
Now
Right,
we're
right. So,
starting.
okay, so I
We're
chose
starting.
her, right?
What was I chose her. Why?
even if I didn't know why.
Yes.
So the purpose that I probably was choosing her is because I need that mirror.
because I wasn't where I was.
So that's where the work comes in.
Go ahead, let's get deep, let's dig deep.
Right. The work can only be done if the person is willing to help you.
It's not about the person.
Okay,
It's not about the
Life
person.
lesson that needs to be learned.
Okay, I'll give you an example.
How do you confirm that you got the lesson?
Let me, because you don't get the same person.
The inner work required.
All right.
For these things.
I'm honestly trying to understand. I'm really trying to understand.
All right, we got too many people. Excuse me. Whoa. Calm down. We get like this. I know. We're going to have to, whoever got the baton, they talking. And when he pass it.
I got something to say after that.
Oh yeah, okay, go ahead. Going around very quickly. What I wanted to say is that I can speak further on how. One, like Sakai said, how do I know if I got the lesson? It's not gonna come to you again. Period. You're not gonna have that same experience. When I got the lesson in abuse, I didn't get abuse anymore.
You mean when you passed the test?
I don't know if it was a test to pass. When I was able to learn a lesson and shift whatever I needed to shift inside of myself, that expectation of abuse.
So you saying you were attracting that energy?
Yeah, and so when I said, okay, this is not for me, I don't want this anymore, I need to think of something, I need to think of a loving relationship that is not filled with abuse, and I focused my energy on that, I did not have that come into my life anymore. Vibrationally, energetically, vocally, I didn't believe that. I didn't vibrate that, so I didn't have that anymore. So that's how you always know where you learn a lesson. Now, there's other ways to know how to really learn a lesson in the relationship you're in now, but I can't go into that deep there. Leave that for the next show. We're going to go to this sister right here because we're going to be wrapping up in about another 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay, just to elaborate on like looking at yourself, like as I've grown, I realized that we're afraid to realize what we really want. I think we're scared because we grow up, you know, our parents tell us this is the person that you need to be with. Based on, like earlier we talked about conformity, like you should be with this type of person, or this is what you should, you know, lead your life towards. And I think as I've like gone through relationships and just realized that maybe that's not what I want, and sometimes, and it scares me. Like there are times when I wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's not what I want. And we need to look at ourselves and realize that, okay, I need to take a step back and realize that what I was looking for is not what I need in my life, and I need to go in this direction. It's scary, but I think it's also enlightening too, because then you realize, now I know what I'm looking for, and when you put that out there, it attracts that back to yourself.
Indeed.
And talking about reflection, whatever you put out there is what you get back. And I think we need to just work on ourselves before we can work on, you know, giving that person the ability to trust them and put that, you know, expectation on other people.
Beautiful. And what's beautiful about your saying is that a lot of times we do have this idea of what our relationships should look like and what we should look like in relationships, and it really doesn't line up with what we deeply desire. So you always, because again, that's expectation. You know, you might have this expectation for this type of relationship, but deep down inside, you resonate with another preference. Right. So yeah, you have to be realistic with yourself about that. And again, like I said, it's always you. It's always you. It's never anyone else outside of yourself. When you're in a relationship, you are looking at you, you are working on you, you're working through you, through that reflection. All right, brother, what you got for us, Ron?
All right, I just have like just commentary on different things that I've been, you know, resonating on. I want to connect with the sister what you were saying. How some people, it might be good for some people to wait to kind of get a relationship until they've gotten past certain things. But a lot of times I think that some people do good by going into a relationship. That person might be their healing source. That person might be the reason that they heal.
Gotcha.
I also want to connect on the other thing that everybody kind of was agreeing on. The person is a reflection. Are you attracting that? So, all right, so if I'm attracting this.
Gotcha.
So why has, you know, the universe or fate aligned me to connect with this person? What am I doing for this person? So are we looking at it like, okay, are we both helping each other heal? Or is it a selfish perception, like, okay, well, I'm attracting this person.
Yeah, yeah.
So why is this person staying with you? That's just commentary.
But yeah, but my thing is that if we look at it all as we're gonna pass it back. Can we pass? Are you finished, brother? No, I don't think he's finished. Okay, he's not finished. But go ahead, finish your thought, because I don't want you to lose. Go ahead.
That was. I was trying to think somebody else I was connected with. I can't think of it right now.
No, that's fine. So what I'm saying to you is that no, it's not selfish, because they're individual too, and them being attracted to you, they're getting something out of being attracted to you and having that interaction with you.
That's my point.
So yeah, it's you can look at it as it's not selfish, because they as an individual is getting something out of relating with you. It's yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here this evening. A couple of things that have stood out to me as I've listened to everyone chime in. The issue of trust. Why do we not trust in relationships? And it's been talked about here. It's usually stems from fear.
Go ahead.
So through our life experiences, childhood, adulthood, relationship, whatever happens stops that growth, that abandonment, those expectations. That fear is what the individual needs to overcome before they can get to that point where they can trust or be trusting.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways. What my brother over here to the left just said is, I think, really sums it up. And it's the theory of contracts. What am I doing for you? And what are you going to do for me in return? And is it equal? Does it balance out? I look at it in that way. If you and I form a relationship and it works out, the only reason why it works out is because both of us got what we wanted out of it.
Gotcha.
Okay, so at the end of the day, the issue of trust, somebody mentioned, are we willing to work with each other in terms of getting over our issues? Are you willing to accept my faults? Are you willing to accept my fears as I'm willing to accept yours? Of course, at the same time.
Gotcha.
It's a growth process. You can't say, well, I'm going to wait, you got to wait for me to get right and then I'll come back to this.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Gotcha.
Sometimes you can grow. Two people can grow at the same time.
Yeah.
The question is, are they willing to?
Well, yeah, definitely. We're getting ready to wrap up in a few minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and give the last commentary. So, again, just to wrap it up, we had some very beautiful expressions tonight. Some of the things that, I'm a former school teacher, so I always like to bring it all together. One thing we talked about tonight is reflection. But once again, the show is talking about trust issues, and something I wanted to bring to the forefront. This brother in the back brought it all the way back. He talked about fear. But one thing that I would want to leave you with tonight is I think that the issue with trust is looking to someone else for our happiness. When we look to another person for our happiness, meaning that if they do these things, then I am happy. And if they don't do these things, then I am not happy. That's the issue. Okay? The issue is looking to another person for our happiness. And then a lot of people looking at me, okay, so what are you supposed to expect? You expect what you deeply believe, and you get what you deeply believe. So my question to you is that if you look at your life right now and you find that you have trust issues, I would say to you, what do you deeply believe? What are you focusing your energy on? What are you talking about on a daily basis? Is it lining up with what you really say you desire? If not, then you need to look within. Zakai talked about abandonment issues. It goes back to our experiences as youth. Our experiences create our expectations and the patterns and things of that nature that we have in our relationships. So if you expect for a person not to be trustworthy, then you will get a person that's not trustworthy. The universe will continuously bring you what you desire. It's kind of like you putting in an order. And the order you putting in, it doesn't align with what you're talking about, then you need to check what you believe. Okay? So, in saying all that, I want to thank everyone for coming out to another edition of Sensual Synergy. I want to thank my special guest, Sakai Odinga. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. And again, I want to thank our sponsors. I want to thank the Women's Earth and Janae for allowing us to be in her space. I want to thank Patrick Delaney of Private Sessions for being such a gracious underwriter. And again, Queen of Fool will be here in the Houston area February the 8th to February the 9th at the Shrine of the Black Madonna. If you want more information, you can go to www.sacredwellness.eventbrite.com. Again, that's sacredwellness.eventbrite.com, or you could text to 281-995-6155. Again, the number is 281-995-6155 for more information. Again, Queen Afua will be in the Houston area February the 8th through the 9th. So if any of my ladies out there or young men have read any of her books, and my understanding, the workshops are going to be chock full of information for men and women. So it's not just for women, it's for men also. So I definitely want you to check that out. And again, I want to thank you guys for coming out, giving me your energy. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. Good night.